Item: SCP-1294. Code name: The Laughing Fox. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures: SCP-1294 is to be contained in a room measuring 5 meters x 5 meters x 3 meters, with a filtered ventilation system. Proper medical facilities are to be maintained at all times, and 1 kilogram of raw meat should be provided once at 8 o'clock am. Interaction between staff and SCP-1294 is to be kept to a minimum. SCP-1294 feeding, grooming, and waste disposal have been automated, and all personnel must wear a respirator before entering SCP-1294's containment chamber. Mobile Task Force 11-8 aka Spearhunters are to be deployed to the Sahara Desert in search of further instances of SCP-1294 under the guise of poachers. MTF-11-8 are to transport instances to site for termination via incineration. Description: SCP-1294 appears to be a male fennec fox, Vulpes zerda, measuring 27 centimeters in length, and weighing approximately 1.1 kilograms at minimum. Barring hunting methods and procreation, SCP-1294 has shown no differences in behavior than that of a typical fennec fox. SCP-1294 is composed entirely of a fungal material, which replicates its skin, skeleton, and fur. The majority of SCP-1294's internal structure consists of a thick mold of varying viscosity. SCP-1294 continuously exhales a toxin, containing heavy amounts of psilocybin and muscimol. If left exposed for longer than approximately 2 minutes, subjects will enter a consistently increasing state of euphoria until removed from SCP-1294's presence. Subjects will become briefly distressed if removed from SCP-1294, but no permanent or long-lasting effects have been found. Subjects exposed for longer than 5 minutes have shown to be highly resistant to pain, and behave in a similar manner to those under the influence of a psychedelic hallucinogen. Subjects removed from SCP-1294 have not recovered from the majority of these effects, and have been known to initiate self-harm in an attempt to provoke stimuli. If SCP-1294 sees a subject in this state, SCP-1294 will lie on, or against the subject, and rest. During this time, SCP-1294's skin will appear to melt, and grow over the subject, later shifting it into SCP-1294's abdomen. SCP-1294 has shown no limit to what it can envelop, and is capable of processing over 190 metric tons of food in 1 week. SCP-1294 only consumes living prey in this manner, preferring to eat already dead subjects or processed food normally 1. Plus human exposure. Tests 1294-407 through -557, 19. Subject: D1294-1 through -150. Procedure: SCP-1294 is to be locked in a metal cage during D-Class personnel's exposure to it in order to prevent their consumption. Subjects were told that they were testing a new drug, which would be released through the air vent. D-Class personnel were informed that SCP-1294's reason for being there was to observe a side-by-side comparison of human and animal testing. 30 D-Class personnel are to be individually observed for each minute of exposure. Results: 0 hours 2 o'clock subjects appear sober, with little to no differences in behavior until approximately 1:20, reporting a calming sensation and a mild brightness in their vision. The D-Class personnel removed from the test chamber expressed a mild disappointment from being removed, but addiction to the toxin, or any permanent effects have not been found. 2 o'clock 3 o'clock subjects reported bright colors and objects shifting about in the room. Several D-Class noted that SCP-1294 appeared to be smiling. 24 of the 30 D-class personnel removed had recovered 1 to 13 hours later, and compared the experience to being heavily intoxicated with alcohol. The remainder of D-class personnel, 6, remained under the influence. 3 o'clock 4 o'clock D-class personnel typically began laughing softly. Subjects reported being able to see sounds, objects in the room becoming animate, and the room appeared to be breathing. Experiences vary between subjects, but each subject past this stage reported that SCP-1294 began speaking to the subject. Subjects do not recall what SCP-1294 told them, except they found their conversation as either highly entertaining or friendly. 16 of the 30 D-class personnel recovered 15 to 26 hours later, expressing a disinterest in being exposed further, remarking that they found the experience largely unsettling. Remainder of D-class personnel, 14, experienced permanent brain damage of varying severity. 4 o'clock 5 o'clock subject ceased laughing, and typically became motionless approximately 30 minutes after initial exposure. Subjects experienced a total loss of their cognitive and somatic senses. SCP-1294 became increasingly irritated as it was held from a subject. SCP-1294 attempted to escape its cage, typically from either scratching or gnawing at the bars. All 30 of the D-class retrieved fell in a comatose state. D-1294-139 and D-1294-144 recovered 2 weeks later, showing the symptoms of those exposed to SCP-1294 for 3 to 4 minutes. Both D-1294-139 and D-1294-144 are either unwilling or unable to recount the experience. When in sight of SCP-1294, subjects started speaking incoherently, and showed signs of intense anxiety. Analysis: D-1294-139 and D-1294-144 both had a history of drug abuse, consisting mainly of phencyclidine, oxycontin, and cocaine, which is hypothesized to be a reason why recovery was possible. Upon monthly termination, a drawing was found in D-1294-139's back pocket. Drawing featured what is presumed to be D-1294-139 facing his termination, with a smiling Fennec Fox observing it, and the word G-Day written on the top. Investigations on how D-1294-139 became aware of his termination are ongoing. Further testing is ongoing. Plus Fennec Fox exposure. Test 1294-974. 20. Subject: 1 male Fennec Fox, Vulpzerda. Procedure: subject is to be introduced into SCP-1294's containment chamber. Researchers are to record any possible abnormal behavior. Results: subject was cautious of SCP-1294 for the duration of the test. When under the effects of the toxin, SCP-1294 led the subject to the far corner of the testing chamber before the subject was knocked unconscious. SCP-1294 did not attempt to consume the subject, and instead lay down against the opposite corner until the subject was retrieved. Subject later made a full recovery. Test 1294-975. 20. Subject: 1 female Fennec Fox, Vulpzerda. Procedure: subject is to be introduced into SCP-1294's containment chamber. Researchers are to record any abnormal behavior. Results: once released in the containment chamber, SCP-1294 began to watch the subject intently, until it became affected by the toxin. Once the subject was unconscious, SCP-1294 then proceeded to mate with it. Subject woke up afterwards, and attempted to leave the cell by clawing at the door. SCP-1294 showed little interest in the subject after intercourse. Subject was left alone in the cell for 5 minutes, and did not appear to be affected by the toxic environment. Analysis. Subject was collected from SCP-1294's containment area, and has been given its own chamber to separate it from SCP-1294. Test 1294-976. 20. Subject. The female fennec fox, Vulpes zerda, from Test 975. Procedure. Observe the behavior of the previous subject. Results. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 32 seconds upon containment. Subject has become increasingly restless, attempting to lie down and rest, but getting up to move afterwards. Subject began hyperventilating at 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 29 seconds, and eventually tired itself out. 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 33 seconds 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 56 seconds. Subject experiences an epileptic seizure, and begins to foam at the mouth. Subject ceases to move at 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 53 seconds. 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 57 seconds. 4 hours, 23 minutes, and 33 seconds. Movement detected under the subject's skin. Abdomen distends by 10 centimeters at 4 hours, 23 minutes, and 33 seconds. 4 hours, 23 minutes, and 34 seconds. 5 hours, 22 minutes, and 50 seconds. Fungal growths protrude from the subject's orifices, and pierce through its skin. Growths are a light tan in color, with small black spots sparsely placed throughout the pileus. Abdomen extends to 54 centimeters in diameter. 5 hours, 22 minutes, and 51 seconds. 5 hours, 23 minutes, and 58 seconds. Subject stands up, and moves in an unnatural and sporadic fashion. Subject collapsed to the floor upon reaching the far corner. 5 hours, 23 minutes, and 59 seconds. 5 hours, 58 minutes, and 54 seconds. The fungal growths begin to take root to the surrounding walls, and eventually grow up to the ceiling. A large pod begins to protrude from the subject's chest cavity, while the abdomen stops growing at 2 meters. 5 hours, 58 minutes, and 55 seconds. 6 hours, 19 minutes, and 29 seconds. Pod continues to emerge, causing the subject's chest to give way to a large hole. At 6 hours, 16 minutes, and 22 seconds, the pod produces a ball covered in a fur-like substance with a diameter of 42 centimeters. When separated from the pod, the specimen shifts about, and shrinks to fit a quadrupedic figure. The ball's skin starts to become tighter as several orifices start to appear, revealing eyes, teeth, etc. At 6 hours, 19 minutes, and 11 seconds. By 6 hours, 19 minutes, and 29 seconds, the specimen appears identical to a member of the Vulpes zerda species. 6 hours, 19 minutes, and 30 seconds. 9 hours, 44 minutes, and 34 seconds. Subject repeats the process a total of times before ceasing at 9 hours, 44 minutes, and 34 seconds. Of the specimens produced, 266 achieved sentience, while the remainder had either died and dried up, or formed a collective mass, which had covered the floor. Analysis. Examination of every specimen from the subject shows that each one is nearly identical to SCP-1294 in appearance, effect, and internal structure. Only minor alterations such as eye color, fur patterns, and minimum size have been found between specimens, and DNA testing has shown that all specimens contain DNA belonging to both SCP-1294 and the subject before conception. Most notably, all specimens appear to be male. Addendum 1294-1. 25 specimens from the subject have been given the designations SCP-1294-A through Y, with identical containment procedures to SCP-1294. The remainder of specimens have been incinerated after study, along with the remains of the subject from tests 975 and 976. The possibility of offspring are highly likely due to its high birth rate. Any reports of abnormally large foxes and/or fungi in the area should be brought to Site-S designated head researcher for investigation. Footnotes. 1. Similarities between SCP-1294 and SCP-367's predatory technique and choice of disguise have been noted. Investigation into a shared origin or ancestor for both anomalies is ongoing.